what is the point of doing all this? This is way too much, and I'm just gonna film with my phone. I'm done. I've been there where it's just, you get to a point where there's so much information and it's so overwhelming. It really is what stops you from buying certain things. Here's the thing, for a really long time, I was hoping that, you know, camera phones would catch up to the point where they would look like, you know, a cinematic video, but they just haven't. But let me explain why. So this is actually my, my very first, we'll call it cinema grade iPhone, which it's really not. But it's the iPhone X. And I remember when it came out, geez, there we go. When you took a photo, it would take another photo that would essentially compress the background or blur it out so that it looked like compression. I'll get into that in a minute, but essentially, it took really nice photos that looked like almost a DSLR camera or a mirrorless camera. And even jumping ahead, let's say, to the iPhone Pro model. So this is the 14 Pro. And this is a really, really high quality, competent smartphone. And the camera on it is bar none the best I've ever used. Now, I'm putting the iPhone into video mode, use the third lens as a telephoto. And thing is, even with all the technological advancements that it has, the video doesn't quite cut it. Now, here's what's important. Just like the portrait on the old iPhone was a significant leap for smartphone photography, in the back of my mind then, I was like, man, I wish they applied that to video. How cool would it be if we could get compression and that kind of blurry background with the subject in focus when we're actually filming video? This phone can do that. I am pretty impressed with what it can do. Real-time processing, you know, creating this image that it genuinely looks almost like a lens compression, you know, with that aperture and that blur. It's really close. And I don't blame people for thinking like, I'll just film on an iPhone, you know, it's good enough. Like, why should I pay for more money to get all this stuff when this is what I carry around with me all the time? Here's the thing, I'm not bashing this, saying that you couldn't make cinematic quality videos with an iPhone. Here's the thing, if you look behind the scenes for a lot of this stuff, they have like this little cage where the iPhone slides in and it's like boom, an f2.8 lens or an f1.4. It's got gimbal stabilizers and all these accessories. And I just kind of laughed when I saw that because, well, it's not really filming on just an iPhone. You're building it out just like you would a DSLR or mirrorless camera with all these accessories. So yeah, do I think it's on par? I don't know. I mean, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but it's just not. You know, I wish it was. I really wish it was, because I always have my iPhone on me, and I always find it much more convenient to just pull out a phone and grab that quick shot. But the one thing I'll say is that these videos and photos look good on an iPhone. When you put them on a TV or when you put them on a larger monitor, that's when you really start to see the image sort of falling apart. But you can see how the iPhone just kind of struggles with the edges a bit. And hold on. There we go. And you can even see under the railing on the iPhone, it's almost like it's still in focus through that little gap there. And that's the difference I'm talking about. You can kind of cheat it with a smartphone, but they're still not quite there. And even if I shift to the background and back to the railing, it's pretty fast, but it still looks kind of weird. See how the gap shows the focus? It has a hard time distinguishing. If I were to do that with the R5 and this 24-70 lens,
There's the background, back to the railing, back to the background, back to the railing. It just looks a lot nicer.
It's not fair to criticize something without talking about the technology and how it makes a difference. So this is what I'll explain. Probably first and foremost, the reason I wouldn't shoot cinematic grade videos with an iPhone is because of the sensor size. Now, DSLR and mirrorless cameras, the sensors that they have in the camera body are much bigger than what iPhones or Samsungs or any smartphones can literally fit in the actual size of the device. Most people would just say, well, an iPhone can film in 4K, the mirrorless camera films in 4K, what's the difference? Well, it really has a lot to do with pixel size. Now, especially what Apple's done is really quite clever. They have a quad pixel sensor technology, which basically gives you that kind of definition and detail, and the sensor can be a fourth of the size. It's really, really small. And it's impressive the quality of the image you can get out of it. One of the things you'll notice on these sensors is that you tend to get a lot of artifacting or loss of image clarity. Essentially what you get is kind of this blocky, textury, it looks sort of funny and cartoony. It doesn't quite look natural. The sensor is so small, it can't let in a lot of light. There's a lot of really clever image processing that's going on real time in your phone to brighten the image, give it more brilliance. What ends up happening is you get this kind of digital over sharpening effect where everything has kind of harsh lines and sort of these weird cartoony outlines. It's trying to emulate what these cameras do. Is it very good at doing it? Yes. I mean, it's so impressive to see the video quality you can get, especially with this iPhone 14 Pro. Like, I'm genuinely impressed, even with their new lenses that kind of bend and refract, because they can't. I mean, Jesus, a telephoto lens on this is sticking out just a little bit. Look at the telephoto lens for here, plus the camera. Like, I think from a technology standpoint, it's remarkable that a smartphone can achieve this kind of image quality. But to my standard and what I would feel is acceptable for like your main camera to make cinematic storytelling, it doesn't quite cut it. The other thing I'll say that I'm kind of disappointed with is the compression or bokeh effect. Remember earlier I was talking about kind of that blurry background that the original iPhone did with photos, and now you can do it with video. If you look closely at the footage, and you don't even have to look that closely, it's pretty obvious what it's doing. It's, you know, you're essentially recording with two different lenses, and one of them, maybe even three, all three of the lenses, but it's blurring one out and it's layering the one in focus over top. And you really notice it with edges, and you start to see kind of the holes in the technology. And anyways, I would be embarrassed to submit a project for a client, or even to look back at my own video projects and be like, well, that looks bad. It's the same reason why, you know, way back for the WhyBuy episodes, we decided like, we're not gonna make them with smartphones. It's convenient and it's great that they can film at the quality they can, but when you compare it to a mirrorless camera or even a DSLR camera, the difference is night and day.
Okay, first gonna do the R5. No image stabilization, but image stabilization on the lens. See how that looks. Oh my God. It is so cold. It's like painful on the skin. That's the R5 at 24 millimeters walk around, and then I did 70 millimeters. Let's see now how the R7 does. Here goes nothing. Whew. Yeah, the air definitely hurts. There we go. Let's see what it looks like. Anyways, now that I've done a couple walk arounds with the R5 and the R7, I'm actually going to do it with the iPhone in cinematic mode and then just regular video mode and see how that looks by comparison. Okay, iPhone, let's see how you compare. And keep in mind, I don't have a gimbal for the iPhone, so I got to walk really slowly, but here goes nothing. Okay, this is the regular using the 1x zoom, and let's see how this works. Oh, my hands are burning.
You know, the other thing I'll say just in my defense here is I don't think having an iPhone is convenient and practical in all the ways, especially when you think of storage or you think of battery life. Sometimes you're on a shoot for a full day, and if you're recording on your phone and operating other devices like the Outtakes, or you're making calls or checking a script, what happens when you need to swap a battery or have more charge? You know, you need extra accessories for all these things. And what I found is that it's more cumbersome. And like I said, it's emulating, right? Like all you're doing is sort of recreating what this is for your iPhone, and you're not getting as good of results. So A, are you really saving as much money? And B, is it really that much more convenient? The crazy thing is like something as simple as a software update might prove me wrong, and I might fire this up one day and be like, wow, that looks amazing. Technology's progressing at quite a rapid rate. So again, what I'm saying is probably going to be irrelevant to not much time, but anyways, my experience, take it or leave it, make your own conclusions. Anyways, before I close it out, again, huge thanks to the video sponsor, McBain Camera. If you're looking to buy the equipment or anything that was covered in here, everything that wasn't covered, they carry a ton of different products, so many different brands for accessories and cameras and lenses, and a great place to deal with. And I highly recommend, even just online, you know, buying from their store. It's a great place to deal with. And thank you again to McBain for giving me all these toys to play with to make this video and sponsoring WhyBuy. So anyways, thank you for watching. And if you thought this video was helpful, please like and subscribe, show your support. And, well, I'd say thanks for watching, but I just said that, didn't I?